is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the annual purge. Weapons of Class 4 and lower have been authorized for use during the purge. All other weapons are restricted. Commencing at the siren, any and all crime, including murder, will be legal for 12 continuous hours. May God be with you all.
Hey guys, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we are talking about the Purge movies. We're pitting the original Purge movie from 2013 up against its sequel, Purge Anarchy, which you guys got to pick in a poll. Don't forget to vote on those if you didn't in the last one. But before I get into this, I'm gonna need you guys to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Alright, now let's get into it. Get over here! Before I get into it, let's talk a little bit about these movies. The Purge is a 2013 American dystopian action horror film written and directed by James DeMonico. The film is about members of a wealthy family who find themselves endangered by a gang of murderers during the annual Purge, a night during which all crime, including murder, is temporarily legal. And let me tell you, a lot of that happens in this movie. The Purge Anarchy is a 2014 American dystopian action horror film, also written and directed by James DeMonico. Where the first film depicts a wealthy family trying to survive Purge night, the big difference between that and Anarchy is that the second film focuses on how poverty-stricken people survive. But we're gonna get into all that in just a sec. Let's start off with the good. Starting off with the original Purge, this is a great horror and dystopian concept. I gotta hand it to DeMonico. Solid concept for a movie. Crime being legal for 12 hours? That's scary as f. And we're going to expand on that a little bit when we get to the bad, so I'm gonna hold off for now. The Polite Stranger is an awesome horror villain. Oh, sorry, had to make a quick costume change there. But as I was just talking about, Reese Wakefield is incredible as the Polite Stranger, and he's so underutilized in this movie. The man only has 2 on-screen kills, one being really cool and one just being a little bit of a stabby in Ethan Hawke's ribs. That's no fun, come on, we want a little more than that. I was really hoping that he wouldn't be dead or something, he'd wake up and like kill all their neighbors, that'd be kinda cool. But overall, this character is so underutilized and dies way too quickly. He's the big bad of this movie and you barely use him. This is bananas! Moving on to the Purge Anarchy, this film's plot and setting makes a whole lot more sense for this movie. Setting your first movie in the rich suburbs doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the Purge movies. It's why I think that the setting and characters for the second film is a huge improvement upon the original. Seeing how the Purge affects poverty-stricken people is really the social commentary that you're trying to get at that just doesn't land in that first film. I actually care for these characters most of the time. Opposed to the original, I actually care for these characters sometimes. Sometimes. You know, when their characters don't go completely 180 and change how they've been acting the whole movie. But I'm saving that for the bad. Starting off with the original, personally I think this is a horrible execution for such a great idea. Your concept is there for a great dystopian epic movie, and you completely blow that by making it a home invasion thriller? That would be like if 1984 was a rom-com. Do you see how that just doesn't make any sense? I don't think I have to say any more there. My hat is falling off. The characters are god-awful, especially Charlie. That kid freaking sucks, man. Every decision he makes in this movie hurts his family. Literally every single decision. And his cool little baby doll thing never comes back into play. They wrote it into the movie and it doesn't do anything by the third act. And sure, it drives past everybody in like a moment, but like nothing happens. Poorly written scripts. I don't get it. I don't get how you can mess this up with such a good idea. It really bugs me. The Purge movies, oh, they get to me, man. I also just am not rooting for this family. They're all very typical wealthy asshole rich people. And for the rest of this film series, those people are the antagonists. So it's really weird to see them both being the protagonists and antagonists in this movie. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The plot is all over the place. Listen, as much as I like The Polite Stranger, I definitely think they could have written this movie a little better without that whole group of random people just walking down the street. And they're trying to purge a homeless dude that's apparently just hanging out in this rich suburb. That just doesn't make any sense. What I would have done if I was writing The Purge, and I'm not trying to sound full of myself, maybe all of the neighbor people were like in cahoots with each other. And then they all decided, let's wear some masks and start killing people. And it could be a big reveal at the end of the movie when they actually kill somebody in the third act. oh my god, that's our neighbor. We know this lady. Why are they trying to kill us? And then maybe we have some big like antagonist speech where they're saying like, you guys have made so much money off of us. For what? For some crappy purge protection that doesn't even work? That would have been a lot better of a movie in my opinion. And you still could have had Reese Wakefield play this bad guy. Except maybe he's like one of their sons or something. Or like a guy from out of town that decided, hey, you know what? I like purging. Let's go kill some people. A stupid reason like that. Who cares? This guy's awesome. I want him in my film. This is another film just like It Chapter 2 where I saw so much potential in it and it just didn't clear the bar, man. That's always the worst with horror movies, especially when they have such potential and then they just fail. And it's usually for like little tiny details. Like for example, plot. That's something you can fix so easily with a couple revisions. This film just needed like 2 more revisions and it would have gotten there. It just sucks how close it was to being great. Moving on to Anarchy, also kinda has a wonky plot. The big thing I've noticed about DeMonico's writing is overall it's not bad. He just likes to set up a lot in the first act that most of it doesn't get resolved by the ending, which is a big no-no in screenwriting. But my big thing that I didn't like about Anarchy was the fact that Leo's character totally takes a 180 in the third act. This whole time he's acting like super straight-laced, he's not acting out of emotion, he's very calculated and precise with everything he does, but then at the end he totally lets his emotion like drive him. And I just don't think he would actually go into the house in the first place if he was that kind of character, but he decides, you know what, I'm going in there and I'm going to kill this guy who killed my son. That scene should have went one of 2 ways. The girls should have convinced him either to just not go in there and just drive away and call it a day, which probably would have been kind of anticlimactic, but better than what we got in my opinion. Or we could have had a scene where he just went in there and just killed every single person. And now here's the thing. I know you're saying like, well, then he's kind of given into the purge and that sucks. Exactly. That's what would be messed up and would totally drive your point home. It would be dark and kind of sucky for the characters, but it would show you the mentality of the purge and how messed up it makes people, which is kind of the whole point of these movies. As happy as I am that Leo did survive this film, I kind of would have liked to see a much darker ending. But that's just me because I'm f***ed up. Anarchy also loses its scary edge, and it ends up kind of being more of an action movie, which most of the time isn't a bad thing. For this film though, I think it is. I mean, the scene where they're fighting all the rich people in that like arena thing, it just feels like a scene from a John Wick movie. It doesn't feel like The Purge. Trust me, I love those John Wick movies. I like seeing people just cutting each other up and shooting like 100 bullets into each other. It's fucking crazy. It's awesome. It just kind of felt out of place for a Purge movie, and then the other movies kind of do that too. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. Now, the scene where they're like getting auctioned off, that's scary as hell. I'm a big fan of that. That's really cool. I just don't like the arena scene. This hat is just giving me all kinds of problems. So am I handing out the ugly award? You know, I thought about it and I was gonna give it to the original Purge, but it's such a good concept, it's hard for me to hand out that award. Especially since I handed that award out to a film like The Fog remake. I would not put those 2 films on the same level at all. The Purge is an excellent concept, but it just has horrible execution. The reason these films are going to be remembered is concept alone. It's one of the most original horror films we've probably had in the past 10 years. But overall, the execution just sucks. So I'm gonna have to give it to Purge Anarchy. The sequel wins it this time around. I know some of you like seeing that. Here we go. This is what I'm doing with the hat now. We're just gonna put it up here. Nope, not doing that. Anarchy is just such a huge improvement over the first film. Although I don't love the plot, I think the setting and characters and the way the social commentary is given off in this film, it just makes so much more sense and overall just makes for a better film. And for Election Year and the first Purge, they're both just kind of okay to me. Election Year kind of feels like a remake of Anarchy, but not as good. And then the first Purge, I don't know what the hell they're doing in that movie, honestly. It's the only Purge movie where I feel like the social commentary feels really forced. In fact, the thing I like about the first Purge so much is the fact that people don't just go into the streets and start murdering people. They're like doing drugs and just drinking and partying, which realistically is what people would probably do if they were given 12 hours of immunity. The realism in that film I can respect. The plot of that movie, not so great. I will say that each of the Purge movies brings something to the table that's really interesting. I would have gladly done this video about any of the movies in the series, although Anarchy is my favorite. So what do you guys think about these results? Do you think the first Purge is better than Anarchy? Leave me your argument in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching my sequel versus the original of The Purge. I'm taking this hat off now because video is over. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at KillJoyJake1, Instagram at KillJoy_Jake, and on Twitch at KJJLive. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.